Jesus did this incredible thing where he very rarely persuaded anyone of anything. He didn't try to convince anyone of who he was. He just challenged their neediness from him and from others. He challenged their lying beliefs about their standing with God based on false premises. He challenged people with truth in love all the time. And the more freed up I get of kind of what I would like for people, so for their own sake, or what I would want from people for my sake or for the ministry or for anything else, I'm increasingly seeing something that I see in Christ's engagements with people in the Gospels, where if someone is wanting an excuse to reject Jesus, then I can just say, well, you can have an excuse to reject him. That's fine. It's entirely up to you. If that's what you want, have at it. That person doesn't need convinced that God is real. They need confronted with their own embitterment that's keeping them from accepting Christ. So sometimes have no need to be harsh or to beat people over the head with the truth or to prove them wrong. And they want to engage in an argument. They're ready to fight, to defend their rejection of God. Well, I have no need to defend God. God's doing just fine. Jesus did not defend God's activity. He did not defend his own messiahship. He just didn't do that very much. And yet he often, in being who he was and freed up from any neediness from the people around him, he could take the point of his finger by grace and touch people at the very tenderest part of their wounded hearts and meet them at the very point of their need, where they would walk away from that encounter, whether accepting or rejecting the truth of Christ's life. It was amazing how they walked away with a clarity of choice of where they placed their faith. So here's the deal. What miraculous thing woos the heart of hurting souls? The people that you run into today at the grocery store, in your own family, online, people are experiencing great need. If they don't know Christ, then they're looking for those needs to be met from circumstances, from relationships, from jobs, really for themselves to be the source of what they need, and using circumstances and using relationships or avoiding circumstances and relationships that will either meet or hinder their own idolatry, right? How do we be our own source? If I'm trying to get my needs met, then I'm trying to be my own source. And you are either going to be useful to me or a hindrance to me, an obstacle or an instrument of my own, of being my own source. If I have to operate from myself, the flesh, as my source, and I'm trying to use the law to self-justify, look how good I am, and you better obey the law, right? So if I'm trying to use the law to self-justify, then when I meet you, I'm going to either win you over to my opinion, or I'm going to have to crush you with my opinion so that I can be self-justified in my opinion. When I am rejected by someone, if I am operating in the flesh, then I have to either prove them wrong so that I can feel okay about myself, right? I'm self-justifying, and if you disagree with me, then I have to make you wrong. But see, if I'm okay in Christ, if I'm justified by grace, if I'm under grace and not law, if I'm operating out of relationship with Jesus and not out of self-righteousness in my own circumstances and decision-making, then you can reject me and I'm okay. You can accept me and I'm not puffed up. So I can either operate out of the security of my relationship with Christ or out of my own resourcefulness in how I can make circumstances, opinions, paradigms that I hold on to work for me. So you're either going to be useful to me because you affirm my opinion, or you're going to be a risk to me and an obstacle to me in self-justifying. And you can pretty quickly, if you start to divide up the fleshy responses of people around you and circumstances that you're in, you can pretty quickly see people's neediness to either win an argument with you or get affirmation from you of their opinion. Either you're going to affirm them or they've got to crush you all the time. And it's amazing as we in this ministry are seeing thousands of people come to know about the truth of our life in Christ. They pretty quickly reject the truth or celebrate the truth. And you know that they are either way, because they either need to make what we're sharing wrong. See, I have no need to make them wrong. I have every desire to make them right. Or they don't have the need to make them wrong. They're going, why have I not heard this my entire life, that I'm free in Christ, that I'm empowered in him, that he loves me no matter what, that I'm not trying to win what I need from God. I'm walking in all that he has for me. So it's amazing. It's just amazing to see when we walk in the freedom that we have in Christ, that he gives us incisive opportunities to engage in the deepest part of where he wants to work in other people's lives. And that is not winning people over to an opinion. That is meeting people at the deepest need of their soul.